The duet is the smallest form of ensemble playing in music. Each musical element comes under the microscope. Every note counts harmonically and rhythmically. Even the length of the notes are crucially important, as they can determine if the piece will sound musically untidy or polished and orderly. Hi, in this video I would like to share a way of writing or putting together a jazz duet. The method I will show is like a step-by-step layer upon layer technique that works for me, as I am a non-genius. There are of course a myriad of other ways to write a duet. Okay, so let's get started. Step 1. Preparation, perhaps the most important step. Just to take the time to plan an arrangement can make the whole process easier and therefore more enjoyable. Plus, the end result will almost certainly be better and less time-consuming and frustrating than setting out without a plan. The initial preparation is recommended done away from the instrument. It's freer this way, more open, and you can do it anywhere, as mostly this is done with the imagination. Personally, I like to work out ideas whilst I am out cycling. So one of the first concrete things to do is to decide on the musical architecture of the piece, the overall shape. Here is the illustrated graphical plan of action for the short Autumn Leaves clarinet duet we will look at today. So we can, for example, plan to state the tune in the first A, with the second clarinet answering this phrase in a lower pitch. Then in the A2 section, which is a repetition, we can plan to do something different. For example, 1. Switch the parts over so the tune is with a different player. 2. Put the tune into a different register, higher or lower. 3. Vary the dynamic, louder or softer. 4. Alter, jazz up the rhythm and articulation. And in the B section, we may want something new again, or not, it's all down to taste. We also need to think about the level of the performer. This is critical. It can be frustrating and futile to write something that is beyond a certain musician's technical prowess. One thing I always keep in mind, a personal axiom, if you like, is to at all times write something I would enjoy playing. Never a throwaway phrase. It has to be some kind of musical feast that I would like to play, in the same way, for instance, that I might look forward to enjoying a succulent ice cream on a hot day. Okay. So step 1 was just the preparation. Now in step 2, we'll add an answer to the melody of the song. So let's listen to this gorgeous musical famous tune and see if we can imagine some kind of musical answering phrase. We might not be able to imagine the exact pitches, but I am sure most musicians can imagine an answering phrase to this first melody. The actual notes can be worked out, polished and changed later. The important thing for me is the shape of the phrase. By the way, it is very useful, if not essential, to work with a lead sheet with the chord symbols notated so we can refer to the harmony, as that will help the duet have harmonic coherence. Here are some simple lower melodic answers to the famous tune that I came up with that pretty much just trace out the notes of each chord. Okay, these lines may be quite straightforward, but they seem to work. By the way, in bar 8, the F sharp is the sixth, the natural sixth of A minor. This natural sixth sound is heard in many classic versions of the song, like this Cannonball version with Miles Davis. Step 3. Having added this secondary answer part, we can now tweak the top famous melody, as it is a bit sedentary and stationary and predictable. Nothing fancy, just adding in rhythm. Here is the original first few bars. And here is the jazzed up first few bars. Step 4. Now the A2 section, the repetition of the first A melody. This time we're looking for contrast. We do not want to just repeat the first 8 bars. That would be boring and unchallenging, and we would not experience growth. So we can switch the tune to the other player. That will give us a different sound and please that person, hopefully. Also, we can switch the register of the tune. We will actually drop the melody this time by an octave, as that is perhaps a little unexpected. Step 5. Now we will jazz up the answer. This time, for added contrast, we will put the melodic response above the lower tune and ascending, as before this answer was descending. We want each phrase to be a delight, a thing of beauty and unique. What follows are some answer phrases that I imagined, found attractive and liked to play. Step 6. Now we can jazz up the squarish lower part melody, again making each phrase unique, a gem, something to love. You may have noticed that I have added an ending phrase to signal that this first section is concluding and to give the players something to get their teeth into. Also now we can tweak the top part as it is starting on beat 2 all the time and it's becoming a bit predictable. Let's have a recap of what we have done so far from the top. Step 7. In this step, I have kept adding more bits and pieces, just as I would when improvising. It's all down to taste and imagination at the end of the day. This now includes a new intro and jazz tweaked up phrases all over the place. If you benefited from this video, please like, share and subscribe. As well, if you like this style of duet, you may be interested in checking out the Jazzduet collection of duet books for saxophone, clarinet, trumpet and flute and clarinet. Also, for the price of a cup of coffee, you can support the creation of further Jazzduets presentations over on Patreon. Cheers!